This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Spreading like fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 724. Make sure that you check us out at markinout.com, also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and wherever else you are listening to your podcast. Give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. In addition to that, buy a t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/markinout, because 'tis the season to be giving. So give to us by giving to somebody else. And buy a t-shirt. Thank you. Give us a like over on Facebook. Give us a follow over on Instagram at MarkinOut11. Give us a follow on TikTok, Markin Out. Twitter, Markin Out. Follow me, Dave the Rave, on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. Follow Chris at Chris Sweendog and CM Sweeney85 on Twitter and IG, respectfully. And also follow Brandon at BTTG161 on all social media platforms. That being said, we are heading into Christmas and Hanukkah and all of the festive holiday seasons. So I know that I have with me right now a very, very festive Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Respectively, I'm doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
Hey, Jingle All the Way. Doing great.
What about Jingle All the Way 2?
Never saw it.
Neither did I. I don't know if I did. I'm going to say probably not, but I know it stars Larry the Cable Guy and Santino Marella.
Sounds missable.
Well.
Sounds something that many people in the movie theater may have missed as well.
I don't think many people even know that a Jingle All the Way exists made by WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But how was your week?
My week was fantastic. It was really good, really eventful. I'll tell you, holiday seasons, they get tiring sometimes. I feel like sometimes I'm such an outgoing, energetic person, but sometimes I just want to sit on my couch and just relax and be by myself.
That's actually a 4-season thing.
Yeah, that is a 4-season thing, actually. I'm definitely one of those people that is very much so like that. Apparently, it fits the Gemini symbol. But, yeah. How about you? How was your week?
I'm a Taurus, oh.
Nice.
It was good. I made some cheeseburger casserole, which was also pretty good. I used cream cheese in the meat itself, and then I layered it with 2 cheddar cheeses, mozzarella cheese, Havarti, and Gouda. And,
was it Gouda?
Yeah, it was more than Gouda. It was Greta.
Wow. Okay.
That was terrible.
Yeah, can we edit that out?
The cheese was great,
sorry.
though. You know, it works, though. It's a cheese pun, kind of.
It is, but maybe I shouldn't have. I encouraged it. I'm sorry.
I also made ground beef with beans, diced tomatoes, and corn that I made to put over a salad.
Where's the beef?
I said beef. What do you mean ground beef?
Nah.
But it's not chili, if that's what you're thinking, because beans don't go in chili.
You know what they're good for, right?
Yeah.
You know what they're the musical fruit of?
I do. Are you trying to get me to curse? I don't understand.
How did it come out?
I mean, magical? I don't know. What do you mean? It was pretty good.
Was it magically delicious?
It was a little loud.
Nice. What else did you cook?
That was pretty much it.
Very cool. I mean, this week has been very eventful. We had on Saturday was a wild time because we had the return of Saturday Night Main Event.
Saturday night's main event. I've heard so many people say Saturday night main event, and it irks me because the apostrophe S is right there in the logo.
Yeah.
You should apologize. You predate Saturday night's main event, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I predate George Hackenschmidt wrestling too. So
right.
I mean, but I do apologize. My error. But it did take place from Nassau Coliseum, good old Long Island, Unionville, New York. I wish I was there. It looked incredible. I mean, it's always really cool to see Nassau Coliseum because we grew up going there to see live events. So to see events return there for pro wrestling, it's really
you say
cool.
that events never really left. They did the last event in 2015, and then when they reopened, WWE was there almost instantly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they still go there to this day.
That is true. It's a little bit weird because it does seem like Nassau Coliseum is like a dead arena, though.
It very much so is. When you start booking wedding expos instead of like more concerts or any concerts.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's just weird because it seems like such a dead place to. It's like as if WWE went to Westbury Music Fair, except Westbury Music Fair probably has more.
No, Westbury Music Fair is not a dead thing. I thought you were going to say like the Source Mall.
I mean, it could be something similar to that.
Nassau Coliseum is living off Cheesecake Factory. But yeah, Saturday night's main event took place at the Coliseum. They had the classic neon entranceway with like the crowd pretty close together.
Yeah, with actual steel gate barricades.
Yeah, they had the red, white, and blue ropes. You had Jesse the Body Ventura and Joe Tessitore hosting it.
The Body wearing his old school attire.
Snakeskin jacket and his...
Yeah.
I don't know if that tie-dye shirt was old or new to look old. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he had the boas. You had Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on commentary. The referees wore the classic blue button-down shirts, so that was pretty cool to see. You had Tito Santana, Rich Herring, who is a longtime former, at this point, WWE employee. He's a Warrior Award recipient. You had Jimmy Hart, Coco Beware, who is, in fact, a Hall of Famer, and Greg the Hammer Valentine sitting ringside throughout the show. I'm surprised that they didn't have, like, Alundra Blaze or Wendy Richter, especially for the first ever Women's U.S. Championship.
Mm-hmm.
No women is kind of weird that they didn't. I don't know. I thought that was weird.
It would have been nice.
But it opened up with Drew McIntyre picking up the victory over Sami Zayn, who attacked Drew McIntyre right off the bat. And overall, I thought the match was pretty even. But I thought this was a very entertaining match to open with.
I agree. I think that it's a great match to open with. I think that Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn bring a lot of energy to the matchup, and I feel like usually an energetic matchup is maybe a ladder match or something like that that's really high energy to get a crowd going. But I feel like Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn is a perfect match to really start up with.
Yeah, Sami Zayn went for Helluva Kick, and Drew McIntyre rolled out, and when he got back into the ring, he rocked Sami Zayn with that Claymore to pick up that victory.
Yeah, I really like that spot, too. I like that it was just I like it when the Claymore is out of nowhere, no setup. And it's kind of like what I would have wanted it to... It is how I would have wanted it to go, with Sami Zayn getting back into the ring, and then right away... Claymore.
Yeah, so we'll put a pin in that match. After that, we saw Liv Morgan pick up the victory over Io Sky to retain the championship. I thought this was another good match. Io doing her version of the Suplex City, I guess you can call it. Technically, she did the 3 German suplexes. I thought that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That knee from Io Sky was brutal.
That was nasty.
They said Liv Morgan might have a broken nose. I don't know. I feel like we would have seen that on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, they probably would have had, if she had a broken nose, she would have had black and blues throughout the eyes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming she didn't actually have anything.
Yeah, she didn't have
to her
it.
nose.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it
think
looked
that
brutal.
she would have.
Looked very brutal.
Agreed.
And then Io went for the moonsault, and Liv Morgan got her feet up, and then she hit Oblivion to pick up that victory.
Yeah, I thought that this was a solid match. I thought it was very entertaining. The crowd was fully into this matchup too.
And then afterwards, when Liv Morgan got to right where the entranceway was, Rhea Ripley showed up and just stared her down.
Yeah. Next up, you had a great triple threat match as Gunther picked up the victory over Finn Balor and Damian Priest to retain his championship. Finn Balor almost came out the winner on this one. And Damian Priest was definitely not to be overlooked as well. I mean, Priest had many moments of his comebacks where you thought that anybody could have won this one.
Yeah, they had a lot more reversals in this match than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obviously hard-hitting. I liked when Gunther had the sleeper locked in on Finn Balor and Damian Priest kicked him with no effect to Gunther. And then it led to Finn Balor pinning him, but I don't know if that was because of the kick or if that was just I don't know if that was a chain effect, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But Gunther locked Priest in the sleeper. He got out of that and hit South of Heaven. Balor instantly attacks Damian Priest and went up for that coup de grace, and Gunther crotched him on that top rope. And then Damian Priest hit Razor's Edge. Finn Balor hits the coup de grace, only for the match to continue. And then Gunther powerbombed Damian Priest on the steps. That was shaky. I thought they had a good recovery to that. And then he got in to he drop kicked Finn Balor and powerbombed him to pick up that victory.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Gunther finish matches with really relatively moves that we don't see much of a finish on it any longer, such as it could be a power bomb, or it could be sometimes a sidewalk sling, just your normal power.
I mean, it's
moves.
a power bomb splash or a sleeper hold from Gunther.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that because you don't see it too often, but you really should, considering the size difference of him. I really like that powerbomb shot right at the end, and I thought this was a really great match.
Yeah.
Next up, you had Chelsea Green pick up the victory over Mia Yim to become the very, very first women's United States champion. Hey, this is incredible. Chelsea Green picking up that U.S. championship just like her husband, Matt Cardona.
First and only married U.S. champion couple.
Yeah.
Chelsea rocking the one-legged trunks or tights, whatever you'd call them, I guess. Tights, technically.
That's true. And her gear was awesome with her face splashed all over it. It would have been cool if Matt was like one of the faces. That would have been funny.
I don't know if they would have done that.
I don't know. I mean, the one-legged, is a reference to him.
Right, yeah.
And she did do the broski, the Rough Rider during it too.
Rough Ride her.
Yeah.
Piper Niven got involved behind the referee's back. We saw... What?
With Piper Niven getting involved, what's your take on how Chelsea Green did the suicide dive to the outside to Piper Niven, right? Remember that spot where she caught her, but she fell down and everything?
Right.
But then she stood back up with her right away?
Yeah.
What is your take on spots like that? Like, I feel like if the person is supposed to catch them and they by accident fall down or something with all the speed coming at you, I feel like at that rate, just sell it a little bit, and then both of you make your
time
way.
is time, though.
I know. At that rate, I would say just make your way slowly to stand back up, helping each other back up, and be like, "Oh, sorry, accident," and stuff like that. Instead of trying to be like, "Oh, I'm powerhouse."
It happened on SmackDown too, where Mia Yim moved out of the way, but still got hit.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather just sell that you actually fell down. It's okay. It didn't take me out of the matchup at all, but it's just something that I was curious to see your take on that.
Right.
But
Mia Yim, she reversed one Rough Rider And then Chelsea connected with it later on. Mia Yim took Piper Niven out, and she got back up, and Mia Yim ends up knocking Piper off the apron. Chelsea reversed Mia Yim while she was on the middle rope and flipped into that Unpretty Her to pick up the victory.
And that was such a cool reversal. I don't think the fans were expecting it, but once she landed into the position, everybody started marking out a bit.
It better be in 2K25.
Yeah, it was a sick reversal into that. Very happy to see her get the victory, especially at Nassau Coliseum. I'm sure her family was there, Matt's family. So
Matt wasn't, unfortunately.
True, we know Matt wasn't, but so it's really a cool moment to see, and especially now that they're the first ever couple of the U.S. championships. So it's cool. Mia Yim has been doing. Mia Yim has been doing incredible since she returned.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mia Yim. I was very torn on whether or not I wanted it to be her or Chelsea.
Yeah, Mia Yim, I feel like it's only a matter of time until she gets that appreciation of carrying a championship. Can you see her as a WWE Women's Champion?
Yeah, 100%.
I hope that it does happen over time. I think she's a great veteran.
And I like, by the way, I like that Triple H put her over as well.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Like Chelsea got the point picture, but so did Mia Yim.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's nice. Main event of the evening: Cody Rhodes picking up the victory over Kevin Owens to retain his championship. I mean, right off the bat, you had Triple H, the video of Triple H presenting Cody Rhodes with I believe it was a suitcase, and he says, "For one night only, this is yours," and he opens it up, and it wasn't revealed until that night, right?
Yeah, no. We didn't know that Cody had the Winged Eagle until he actually made his entrance, but we knew he had the Winged Eagle.
I mean, some people thought it was the the Stardust attire.
Anybody thought it was the Stardust gimmick.
But
I thought that was great. I thought this match was very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens used the backdrop on the commentary table to call Randy Orton out. Randy's been gone because of him. He tried to do the bionic elbow because obviously Dusty Rhodes. Cody reversed it and hit the bionic elbow on Kevin Owens himself. Cody also got hit with an RKO on the commentary table. We saw Kevin go for a stunner at one point that almost got reversed into a crossroads. But Kevin Owens sent him into the referee. He hits the stunner. No referee. Obvious 3 count. No ref. Cody, a new referee runs down. Cody accidentally takes out the new referee.
What a heel.
Kevin Owens goes out, grabs a chair. Cody ends up ducking it and uses that chair to hit the Cody Cutter onto Kevin Owens.
What a heel.
Not the Cody Cutter.
Cody Rhodes.
He used it to hit the crossroads.
Yeah.
Charles Robinson got up just in time to count. I love the fact that you had Jesse the Body Ventura being that heel commentator. And it, I mean, you could say it was sounding very heelish, but what he was saying wasn't wrong.
I think that's the great thing with a heel commentator is that sometimes they'll say stuff and it's just like, you know what? He's right.
It's exactly what this whole feud with Kevin Owens has been. Where it's like it sounds like he's wrong, but is he?
I mean, Cody Rhodes did just hit his finish on top of a chair.
And you see him see the chair. He knows the chair is there.
Yeah, and he took out a referee.
Well, I mean, that part obviously I don't count. That's not like he didn't.
True,
actually.
But even still, everything that Kevin Owens has been pleading to show to Randy Orton and everybody, he's not 100% wrong. It's not like we're talking Bobby the Brain Heenan claiming that Marty Jannetty is a coward and tried to jump through the barber shop window.
And, I mean, very reminiscent of Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is on a very similar path.
Did Kevin Owens have any encounter with Karrion Kross
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure on that.
or Cody.
I don't know.
I feel like it's like a what is it? The
Butterfly
Kevin Bacon
effect?
thing,
Oh,
or even Always Sunny, like one of these like where you can piece it all together. I feel like everything is like just tracing back to Karrion Kross in some way, with him just demising everybody.
and everyone was like, "This pay-per-view sucked." It's not. First of all, not even a pay-per-view. Second of all, I enjoyed this. It reminded me of Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, I don't understand what wasn't there not to like.
Yeah, I don't know. And then after the show ended, it starts circulating social media. Kevin Owens again attacks Cody Rhodes, and quite possibly one of the biggest things to happen in the WWE for maybe the past 10 years. The move has been banned. We have never seen this in WWE. Kevin Owens hit a package pile driver on Cody Rhodes.
We have seen teases, but we've never actually seen him land a package pile driver, or anybody land a package pile driver. We know Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, that was his finish. The package pile driver for so long, knocked out so many people. We've seen it live many times. And for him to hit it off the air, once again, them using the fans to really report the breaking news between Kevin Owens and the continuation of Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, with the package pile driver aspect, just laying him totally out. And then he took the winged belt.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes was stretchered out, and Kevin Owens took the title. He stood up on Cody while he was on the stretcher. And then he makes his way to the entranceway. He takes a bow. Triple H comes out, and he's pissed off. He pushes Kevin Owens and gets into it with him.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Triple H get physically involved with anybody, I believe, since his cardiac episode.
I don't think so.
You know?
And Kevin Owens, like you said, walked out with that winged eagle and announced that he will be defending that on live events that Cody Rhodes was supposed to be defending the WWE Championship on. No longer cleared to be there, I guess.
Yeah. Kevin Owens, I want to say Kevin Steen now. Kevin Owens is just, I guess, the current champ, according to him.
Which is really funny, by the way, that when Cody Rhodes tweeted out the holiday schedule, there are dates on or two shows on multiple dates. And normally when Cody posts a list, it's the list of places he's going to actually be.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, will he be at both of these shows at the same time? Very plausible, but it's like you're cutting it real close. I think on the night that they're at the Garden and the night that they're at, I think maybe in Jacksonville, he could technically be at both of those shows, but it would take that private jet and go on first and go on last or something maybe. It would be cutting it really close. Like Paul McCartney flying to Billy Joel at Shea Stadium. Or Citi Field, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
No, Shea Stadium.
Yeah. It's all interesting right now. And I started hearing things and seeing things about people considering whether or not we're going to see Triple H get involved physically now.
I can't see that.
I can't either. I really cannot see something like that taking place right now. I mean, besides the cardiac aspect, I don't think it's needed.
Nah, 100% not necessary, and I really don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I just don't think it's needed for him to be physically outside of that push. Outside of that, I think he could show his authority outside of being physical. He can make a matchup. He can say, all right, Kevin Owens, you want to defend your winged championship belt and this and that on the Raw, you are going to face this person. And then you can have Kevin Owens. Maybe Kevin Owens doesn't win clean, or maybe Kevin Owens just totally demolishes the person even before they even step into the ring with the chair, and tell Triple H how that's not fair, that's not how this works. He would never do this to Cody Rhodes, and he's just here to plead. Like, I could see something like that happening.
But I also can't see Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes ending up in a match where both titles are on the line. So that is Saturday night's main event. Moving over to Monday Night Raw, which opened with CM Punk, who addressed Seth Rollins. And he said that it's unavoidable. He knows it's unavoidable at this point. And long story short, he called Seth Rollins out. Seth showed up in the crowd, chanting CM Punk with the fans.
Because before you keep on going, I thought that this was really great. I thought that the promo CM Punk was cutting was awesome. It was authentic. I liked how he was making references to Seth Rollins, and
Seth Rollins cooked, man.
I think they both did. I liked how CM Punk was just like calling him Liberace and saying he's a big fan of Liberace. He's just alluding to the way that he's dressing,
right?
And he made so many comments that were reflective of Seth Rollins and how he just the distaste he puts in his mouth. And I like how he threw back to him, Seth Rollins, asking him to train him and have a match with him back when he was trying to get his up and startings for free, or whatever he said. And then, like you said, he got the entire crowd. I liked how before Seth Rollins even came out, CM Punk was like cueing Seth Rollins to come out. Like, he was like, this is the moment where people would start singing your theme song. And then the crowd would start doing it and doing it and doing it. And you're like, you could see CM Punk's face, like, expecting it to hit, but it didn't. And then there was many points of that where he was like expecting him to interrupt him. Like, he would pause just a little bit after he said something triggering, and then it wouldn't happen. And then it finally happened when he got everybody to start chanting CM Punk. Like you said, and Seth Rollins came out chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. And then, like you said again, Seth Rollins cooked.
Yeah, and it finally came to blows in the crowd, ringside, and in the ring. Seth Rollins, go on.
No, I was going to say I loved it. I love that it actually started in the crowd, and it was just they were brawling, and then it went right over the barricade, and they started going right in that ring.
And he yelled at Adam Pearce later on, saying that he wants the match with CM Punk. Drew McIntyre spoke to Seth Rollins and mentioned what he's going to be doing. And Seth said that they're not the same because Sammy and Jay are his friends.
I didn't expect that part.
And he has to go end CM Punk, which is something that Drew McIntyre could not do.
Yeah, I didn't expect that part because to me, Seth Rollins plays that heel face character really well. Like, the stuff that he's doing is really a heel aspect at times. And then for him to bring up that, I like the throwback to WrestleMania, to him being friends with them. I like that a lot. It was good.
And then Adam Pearce announced that CM Punk versus Seth Rollins will take place on the January 6th episode of Monday Night Raw, the debut of Netflix. Seth Rollins at the kickoff to Raw on Netflix event, calling out CM Punk, saying, "Who's the bootlicker now?" I thought that was fantastic to throw that back in his face. That's something
agree.
CM Punk was very vocal about. I guess real life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even later on Monday Night Raw, you had Sami Zayn jump Drew McIntyre, and that was broken up. So Sammy's not done with Drew. Drew is still, I guess, having to move on, but that's clearly not done yet.
Yeah, I really liked that entire thing where you had with Sami Zayn being attacked by Drew McIntyre.
No, Sammy attacked Drew, didn't he? I think Sammy attacked Drew, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
I could swear Sami Zayn jumped Drew McIntyre.
It was the other way around, I believe. It's because that it happened later on where you had Seth Rollins, I think it was, on screen, and then in the background you saw Drew McIntyre walking towards him.
Yeah, but I think Sami Zayn jumped him.
I mean, Sami Zayn, I think, was walking towards him, and then Drew McIntyre jumped him.
I don't know. I remember Sammy throwing punches first. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong, too.
You had Braun Breaker pick up the victory over Ludwig Kaiser to retain the Intercontinental.
Just before you keep on going, I thought it was weird that Seth Rollins didn't intervene at that point, though, too, because he just went on saying how he's friends with Sami Zayn, but now somebody's brawling with Sami Zayn, and he's just off camera now.
Well, maybe he didn't see it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Breaker picked up the victory over Kaiser. This match went a lot longer than I expected it to. This match had length to it. And I thought they kept it entertaining the whole time. You had Ludwig Kaiser working Braun Breaker's arm a lot during this match. And I popped when Kaiser went for a shotgun dropkick on the outside, and he gets to where Braun Breaker was, and Breaker was gone. And then Braun Breaker rocked him with that shoulder tackle from basically, he ran all the way around just like Kaiser did.
Mm-hmm.
That shoulder tackle that he added to that moveset is fantastic.
Yeah.
But in the end, you had Braun Breaker rock him with a spear to pick up that victory.
I thought that this match was really good, but it was a little long for me.
I don't know. I thought this was very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Dominic. Dom is back to getting that Dom heat, which I feel like has not been there in a bit. But Liv Morgan had a megaphone to talk over the boos, and I thought that was a genius thing. She brought that to the kickoff event as well, which I thought that was hilarious. And Liv Morgan said that 2024 was her year, and there's nobody better to lead Monday Night Raw into 2025 and in 2025 than her. And then Rhea Ripley came out and she said that she spoke to Adam Pearce. She is officially the number one contender for that championship. And at the kickoff event, they confirmed that the match will be taking place on January 6th. That January 6th move to Netflix night is stacked. That's going to be a crazy episode of Monday Night Raw.
I agree. I know when they first announced it, it was like, I can't see myself really watching Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
I hate that I have to watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix, but
hey, I'm here for it now.
I really hate that. I really don't want to watch Raw on Netflix. And it sucks that we're losing all the Raw content from Peacock. I don't know if it's going to go onto Netflix or what, but that sucks. And then I guess for the international people, it doesn't seem like they're getting the WWE network on Netflix the way that we know Peacock and the WWE network to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that sucks.
I agree.
After that, you had Zoe Stark pick up the victory over Raquel Rodriguez and Kaden Carter to advance in the tournament for the Intercontinental Championship. And
I was surprised.
I think Zoe Stark was the only person who could have won this match.
Really? I thought that Raquel Rodriguez, no?
I don't think so. Nah, I don't think so. I couldn't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this match, unfortunately, was a bit bland for me.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool to see Kaden Carter walk out of that with the victory, but I figured that it was going to be Zoe Stark to move on. And people are like, oh, Zoe Stark sucks, blah, blah, blah. I think Zoe Stark is great in the ring.
I agree. I don't see anything wrong with what she does.
She hit the Z360 on Kaden Carter to pick up that victory. And then after the match, you had PFC backstage take Kairi Sane out. So I don't know if that'll affect anything.
Mm-hmm.
You also had a mysterious video air with a 0 and a slash going through it, which I can only assume is for Penta.
I think the same thing.
So I'm looking forward to that if it's Penta. If it's not Penta, I'll have to put a pin in that and see.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Also,
Penta.
Also, earlier in the night, you had New Day try to enter the locker room, and Rey Mysterio, I guess, pulled the vet card, told him to go change elsewhere. I thought that was an interesting aspect to add to this storyline.
Yeah, way to JBL that.
Well, I mean, what New Day did was... I don't want to say horrific, because like last week, they could have done much worse to Big E, but... But that
Rey Mysterio should mind his business.
I mean, if he's going to be a leader of the locker room...
I mean, they weren't wrong, though. I mean, he wasn't there.
They were not fully wrong, no. In the main event of Monday Night Raw, we saw the War Raiders pick up the victory over the Judgment Day to become the new tag team champions. I liked that video that aired for the War Raiders earlier about them coming back from their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have done more with this match. I think, like, the beginning part was slow. The middle and the ending, I thought, was pretty hot.
I agree with you. I think so. I thought that this match, though, had me entertained throughout. I can see what you're saying, though, but I was entertained for it. I had moments where I thought that War Raiders weren't going to win, especially when you had that moment where you had the back, like, what was it, the moonsault to the double stomp. I thought that was going to be the finish, but ended up not being it.
Yeah, JD McDonough ended up grabbing a steel chair and distracted the referee, and on the other side of the ring, Finn Balor also grabbed a steel chair, but Damian Priest showed up and stopped Finn Balor from being able to use that. And the War Raiders were able to hit War Machine to pick up that victory. At that point, I completely forgot that Monday Night Raw was done.
Me too. I forgot. It went by so fast.
War Raiders got Pyro to close Monday Night Raw. I'm happy that they got a main event title win there. They're very, very much so deserving of that.
Yeah.
Now we have to hope to see those championships defended more often than... I mean, I feel like they're going to. They have to. More than the Judgment Day.
I agree. I don't think that... I think that we're going to see a lot of it. And I hope that we see that respect to it, too.
Yeah.
You know? War Raiders definitely deserve it, and then they had that entire backstage of them talking to them and everything, and War Raiders totally deserve it after everything that they've been through together. It was awesome.
Yeah. Moving over to NXT, we saw them live from Lowell, Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. And they showed clips to begin this episode of past WWE events when they were in that building, which I thought was interesting. And it ties into a promo later on, which we'll put a pin in.
Mm.
But it kicked off with Obafemi picking up the victory over Axiom. Like I expected, Obafemi controlled a giant chunk of this. You thought Axiom was going to win this match.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Those chops were absolutely brutal.
Yeah, I was wrong with that one.
Axiom had a little comeback, but that win was not happening.
No.
And then later on, you had Fraxium pick up the victory over Gallus to retain the tag team championships. Axiom came into this very banged up from that Obafemi match to the point where he collapsed during the entrance even. Nathan Fraser also came into this banged up, still from Deadline. He had the mask over his face from his broken nose. And it led to Gallus controlling a lot of this match. And we even saw Axiom accidentally rock Nathan Frazer with a golden ratio when he had Wolfgang in a sleeper.
And I gotta say, I now like how much they are going back and forth with each other. Like how you're having so many mistakes and errors take place at times.
But I don't know if that was necessarily a mistake, though. Because I went back and rewatched that spot a few times, and I can't tell. Wolfgang kind of ducks, and that's when the golden ratio happens. So I don't know if that was it, or if I'm like reaching. But Nathan Frazer came back for a bit, and in the end, Frazer hits an enziguri to Wolfgang when he was up on the top rope, and then Axiom hit a Spanish fly. He dove to the outside to take out Mark, and then Nathan Frazer hit a Phoenix Splash to pick up that victory.
Frazer has been I've been becoming a big fan of Frazer week after week.
Tag Team of the Year.
I mean, Axiom has been really killing it, and I like that Fraxium has been really killing it, and I love that they do have those moments of, are they going to break? I mean, we thought they were going to break up a few months ago when they started having friction between them, and they're still kind of having that friction moment, that potential friction-producing moment, but somehow they end up putting it together, and it's definitely very entertaining. But next up, you had the Metaphor pick up the victory over Sol Ruka and Zarya. The Metaphor has been really special. Lash Legend is incredible.
Yeah, and this match I thought was very entertaining, especially the surfboard plancha, I guess you could probably say, from Sol Ruka that was off of Jakara's back, who was in a fireman's carry on Zarya's shoulders. You had some miscommunications with Zarya and Sol Ruka, but and like Zarya almost ran into Sol Ruka at one point, and then Sol pushed her out of the way to eat a big boot. You had Lash Legend hit her finisher to get that victory for Metaphor. Part of me, I don't know, I feel like I should have expected Metaphor to win this. Part of me thought that Sol Ruka and Zarya were going to be the team walking out as victors.
I agree. I think that it should have been. I mean, they're a legit tag team and everything. But next up, you had Jada Parker pick up the victory over Ren St. Clair. Jada Parker, right back where she should be on the winning side. That back elbow is nasty.
Yeah, that is. I think as far as back elbows go, Andrade has like the best. But Jada Parker's, it's like a different variation of that. It's a very well done back elbow.
Yeah.
And I don't want to compare it to the Judas Effect, but I think the Judas Effect is awful. So any back elbow that's like, I feel like Chris Jericho doesn't hit it properly.
I would say it depends on how and when it's hit. Sometimes it looks really good. Sometimes, So I go back and forth with it.
But you had OTC and No Quarter Catch Crew get into it on the outside and they brawl to the back. I didn't think Ren Sinclair would win this match, but after that happened, I thought maybe there was a chance that she was going to pick up the victory over Jada Parker there. And I would have been all for that. I think it would have been nice to see Ren Sinclair pick up that victory, and I'm fine either way. But I feel like Jada Parker probably needed that victory more.
Yeah, especially coming out of the battle from the week prior. I think that she had to pick up that victory, and she had to have a huge statement as well.
But I will be very disappointed if Ren Sinclair does not hold a championship in NXT in 2025.
Agreed.
Next up, you had
Next up, you had All Ego Nathan Page, or
Page.
Maybe
should we rephrase that whole sentence? That whole
yeah, maybe not All Ego.
No,
You know?
you said Nathan Page.
Oh, Ethan Page. Wait.
Yeah, it's Ethan.
Okay. Ethan Page, yeah. Yeah, he was out there, glasses, just
He was sad.
he was upset.
And he mentioned how he won the NXT championship faster than anyone else in the history of NXT. He brought up Kevin Owens. He brought up Nakamura, I think. He brought up a bunch of people. And he said he did it for his family. And he got to live his dream because his wife. And every time that he loses, his family loses. And he said that he doesn't know if he loves this anymore. And he lost his smile. Same venue that Shawn Michaels delivered the same exact promo.
Huh.
Dressed pretty similarly to how Shawn Michaels was. But then Javon Evans showed up and told him this is not you. And he spoke about how Ethan Page, after he won the championship, he had a smile, a huge smile, and he got to do it in front of his family, and that's the Ethan Page. And he said that Ethan Page knows that he deserves to be there, and he should drop the all ego.
Yeah.
And he said that he's proud of Ethan Page, and Ethan Page thanked him. But then,
yeah. What's your take on that? It was weird to me that you had him come out there to put over the heel to make him feel better about himself.
I
and
just
everything
think
like
that's
that.
the kind of person Javon Evans is. That's
I don't
character.
know. To me, that was just so stupid.
I feel like that's character. You
That's
see
so
somebody.
stupid. That's like if Randy Orton was in that position.
No, but it's not. You see somebody who's down on his luck and they're depressed almost. You're gonna want to cheer them up.
I don't know. You wouldn't go cheer up Randy Orton though.
If Randy Orton was down on his luck and
no, because he's
down
going
on
to
himself.
Get you.
I mean, you don't know that though. You don't fully believe it. You can't fully believe that always.
You got to. He's
you
the
can't.
Viper.
And we saw Ethan Page attack Javon Evans. He wrapped a steel chair around Javon's neck and stomped it, and the blood splattered everywhere. That, I think, was one of the craziest spots. Obviously, that's not real blood, but that was one of the craziest blood spots that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it came quickly out of his mouth too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that even plausible?
I mean, not really. Not that fast. It would probably pool at the side of his mouth, if anything. It would have just spit all out of his mouth like that.
But I thought that looked fantastic.
It got pure distance.
Camera-wise, it looked great.
I'm sure people in the front row got hit by that. He spit that far.
Like balls.
Next up, you had Trick Williams maybe pick up the victory over Eddie Thorpe, who maybe picked up the victory. It ended in a...
I think it might have ended in a no contest.
I don't even know if we can say we can't even say it's a no contest. It's inconclusive,
yeah,
I guess.
So Eddie Thorpe controlled a lot of this, and I thought they had a pretty good match. But at one point, Eddie Thorpe hit an Impaler DDT, and the referee got knocked out. And a new referee came out. Eddie Thorpe hit 2 haluva kicks, and then he went for a third, and Trick Williams rocked him with a trick shot. And then he fell on top of Eddie Thorpe, but Eddie Thorpe also had his arm on top of Trick.
Like barely. It was like his hand.
I would say up to his forearm, maybe.
Maybe.
And then both referees counted to 3.
I'm gonna throw one more loop into this.
Trick Williams retains, I should say that.
So I'm gonna throw something into this. So I mean, within this entire thing, you had Trick Williams' shoulders down, flat. Eddie Thorpe's shoulders down, flat. You had the original referee, I believe, was counting Trick Williams as the winner, and the new referee was saying Eddie Thorpe was the winner. So, do you go with the original referee if they're able to count the 3, or do you go with the new one? But now there's also another thing that I ended up seeing when I was rewatching it. Eddie Thorpe's foot's under the rope.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, his right, I believe it's his right foot is actually underneath the rope during this pin. So Eddie Thorpe actually has a leg to stand on to say that if he's not champion, that he got wronged.
And then obviously the aftermath was Ava coming out to say that Trick Williams retains. Shawn Michaels got involved. Eddie Thorpe was pissed off. If I remember correctly, Eddie Thorpe might have even pushed Shawn Michaels.
I don't remember.
I think that took place after the fact.
Yeah, Ava was just confused. She had both referees saying that this guy's the champion, and then the other one, this guy's the champion. It's an interesting way to end the event, especially with the building of Eddie Thorpe. I guess
I feel like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, because Eddie Thorpe wasn't a contender. Like, wasn't somebody that you'd see as champion right now, I think. But this kind of put him right up there.
Also, to go way back, Gallus posted on the internet what seemed like a goodbye to NXT, hopefully, and not WWE.
True.
I know a lot of people on the internet want to see Gallus team up with Drew McIntyre.
I mean, maybe they'll end up getting brought up.
I wouldn't mind seeing a 4-person group like that where McIntyre's controlling, or leading, I should say, Gallus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what's happening next with Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams because of that ending.
I agree. I mean, let's not forget, you have Obafemi in the mix too now. I mean, obviously, if somebody asked you or me who's next in line to be champion after Trick Williams, Obafemi. You know, he's the number one contender, right? Obafemi. I don't think that we would have ever said Eddie Thorpe before Obafemi.
Right.
So I think that's why it's so weird to see this sort of an ending, especially when Eddie Thorpe was given the matchup by Trick Williams. He didn't really earn it, so to speak.
I mean,
he was given it.
Fooled everybody into the match.
Exactly. So, hey, it's a big spot
and
for
let's
Eddie
not
Thorpe.
say he didn't earn it, because he still didn't get that chance to do so because he was cheated out of that as well.
True. Very true. I mean, it looks like he's getting cheated out of another opportunity, potentially.
Right.
So could play up into a even bigger storyline.
Yeah, so that is NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up with the Bloodline, and Solo Sikoa spoke about the Tribal Combat Challenge, and he said that he's going to be the one leaving as Tribal Chief. Drew McIntyre showed up and asked if Solo Sikoa thinks about him coming after him, since he's the one that cost him the WWE Championship way back when. And he also said that he's torn because Solo is the only one that stood up to Roman Reigns, and they both have the same goal right now. And once Roman Reigns is taken care of, then they can have their business be finished, I guess. Jimmy Uso showed up, pulled Drew McIntyre out of the ring, attacked him with a crutch. Then Andrade, Apollo Crews, and LA Knight ran down to brawl with the Bloodline to lead into their match, where the Bloodline picked up the victory over Andrade, Apollo Crews, and LA Knight. It was nice to see Apollo Crews wrestle again. I think TV-wise, it might have been like 3 months since we've seen him in a match, I should say. And it was nice to actually see him show off his strength. The three of them controlled a lot of the beginning. But once Jacob Fatu got in there, the Bloodline basically took over. The Bloodline was not losing that match. Especially for a 3-man random team like that. The alley-oop spot from Jacob Fatu and Solo to take Andrade out of the ring, I thought was probably my favorite spot of the match. You had Shinsuke Nakamura show up and attack LA Knight behind the referee's back. Solo Sikoa hit that hip attack, a spinning solo, and then a Samoan spike to Apollo Crews to pick up that victory. There was a video of Kevin Owens that showed him explaining what happened on Saturday night's main event was not his fault, according to him. He blamed Cody, he blamed the referees, Nick Aldis, WWE management. He was screwed out of winning the WWE Championship, and he's walking around with the Winged Eagle because he deserves it. And he's not giving it back until he gets what he wants. And he basically put everybody on notice. He said he hasn't snapped yet, and they don't want him to. So whatever happens next is going to be on everyone he named. You had the Grayson Waller effect. Braun Strowman was the guest. Came out dressed as Santa Claus, threw out some presents. Grayson Waller tried to get Braun Strowman to align with them. Then Carmelo Hayes interrupted, challenged Braun Strowman to run it back from last week. Braun Strowman then starts smashing up the set a little bit of the Grayson Waller effect. A brand new set. It looks really nice. And then we lead into a match where Carmelo Hayes beats Braun Strowman via countout. He had more offense than last week, and I definitely appreciate that. Melo at one point took time to taunt and turned his back to Braun Strowman, still was able to capitalize on that spot. Braun Strowman got up behind him. He got sent to the outside of the ring. But then Carmelo Hayes slowly jogged around the ringside area, ran straight into a huge boot from Braun Strowman. I thought that was going to be the end of the match right there, or lead to it at least, but they kept fighting outside. Braun Strowman at the very last second tosses Carmelo Hayes over the top rope back into the ring for the referee to count 10, and Braun Strowman gets counted out. I think that was a creative way to get a victory for Carmelo Hayes over Braun Strowman. And then Braun Strowman chased Carmelo Hayes through the crowd. He was looking for him backstage, and he got into Legato's face, and Santos Escobar was like, "I'm not a snitch." And then Braun was like, "You're going to have more problem if you don't tell me." And Angel Garza snitched and pointed him in the right direction. He runs into Pretty Deadly, and he shoots down their musical again. And then Carmelo Hayes attacked Braun Strowman with a steel chair a few times. He takes off. Braun Strowman gets up and continues the search. After that, you had Johnny Gargano pick up the victory over Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley told Chris Sabin to stay in the back. Johnny Gargano told Tommaso Ciampa to stay in the back, and Ciampa was like all for that, which had me thinking, no. Given their history between Alex Shelley and Johnny Gargano, I thought it was cool to see this as a singles match. And I like the banter with Corey Graves about being in the ring with both of them. But in the end, you had Ciampa come out, distract Alex Shelley. Gargano's able to get a quick enziguri. Chris Sabin came out and backed Ciampa away. Alex Shelley ends up hitting a crossbody from the top rope, but Johnny Gargano rolled through and held on to the tights in order to get that victory. So I enjoyed that match. I wish it was longer. I wish there was more interaction between the two of them. But in the main event, we saw Bianca Belair and Naomi pick up the victory over Candice LeRae and Nia Jax to retain the tag team championships. Tiffany Stratton earlier wished them luck. And Candice was like, we discussed it. It's probably best that you stay back and take notes. Before the match, right before the match, Bianca Belair and Naomi were interviewed about Jade Cargill. Bianca tried to give the championship to Naomi. And Naomi was like, "I don't want it until I earn it." In the match, we saw Candice LeRae cheating behind the referee's back. They controlled a lot of this match, and they did a good job at preventing Bianca Belair from tagging out. I like that missile dropkick, almost like a heart attack-esque move from Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. But finally, Naomi got tagged in. She was able to change the tides of the match. Nia Jax ends up eating the ring post. She got busted open. Tiffany Stratton made her way down to the ringside area, and Nia Jax ended up making her give her the Money in the Bank briefcase, only to get caught with that. And Nia Jax gets knocked off the apron. Bianca Belair goes out and deals with Nia Jax. Naomi hits the split-legged moonsault to pick up that victory. I don't know if Naomi is officially recognized as tag team champion, but if she is, then it's the first time she's holding that title since walking out with Sasha Banks and then having the titles vacated in May of 2022. I would really like to see Naomi be officially recognized as champion, and I don't know if that'll happen. So we'll have to see and find out. That is SmackDown. I'm going to take a quick little break right now, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out, episode 724. Going back to Rampage from last week, you had Matt Cardona pick up the victory over Brian Keith. Brian Keith has maybe one meaningful win in his entire AEW career, so I think this match took way too long. I get why it was as long as it was, but if you take that aspect out of it, I thought this was a decent match. You had Toni Storm pick up the victory over Harley Cameron. On Collision, you had Toni Storm beat Shazza McKenzie. Toni Storm making her in-ring return on Rampage and Collision. I understand what they're doing with this. I thought that is the dumbest thing I've seen in wrestling recently. I was so happy that the timeless Toni Storm gimmick was done. And now it's like she's forgotten everything. She's brand new to the company. And I might hate this even more than the timeless Toni Storm. At first, I enjoyed timeless Toni Storm. And then it was just like, I couldn't deal with it anymore. All I thought they needed to do, I thought this was actually Toni Storm. I thought they have her return last week on Dynamite. You have her show up this week on Dynamite and cut a promo. Have it lead to a challenge for World's End. I don't think there was a match that was necessary to have there. But they're running with this new gimmick. And they're doing Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May in a Tijuana street fight at World's End. For some reason. And then on AEW Dynamite, they did a sit-down with RJ and Toni Storm, which just was beyond cringe to me. Toni Storm, it's as if she's brand new to the company, like I said. But it's also as if she's brand new to the business. She comes off as like a mark almost. But back to Rampage, you had Deonna Purrazzo pick up the victory over Shazza McKenzie. And like I said last week with the Vendetta, they should be well beyond facing enhancement talent like that. Well beyond it. You had Mark Davis and Powerhouse Hobbs pick up the victory over Takeshita and Lance Archer. The Don Callis family spoke before this match. Don Callis spoke about Will Ospreay. He spoke about Okada. This was almost a complete 180 from last week's Rampage, where most of this was, I think, skippable. Towards the end of this match, you had Mark Davis hit the goofiest hot tag. Hobbs eventually hit that Tower of Doom spot, a boring Tower of Doom spot, and he won with the Spine Buster. Takeshita 8-1 after, and Hobbs celebrated with the championship. Moving over to AEW Collision, it opened with Will Ospreay and Darby Allin from last week's Dynamite, talking about AEW and the Death Riders. Darby wants to, I think, basically team with Will Ospreay to put an end to the Death Riders. But Ospreay wants to win the Continental Classic. I feel like this would have made more sense and been more meaningful if Darby Allin wasn't also in that tournament. But the first action that we had, match-wise, we had Will and Nightingale pick up the victory over Jamie Hayter to qualify for that cup for Wrestle Dynasty. I'm glad that it's Willow going to Wrestle Dynasty in Japan. They had good reversals in this match. We saw some of the strength of Willow. She eventually won with the Dr. Bomb. And then the lights went out. And Julia Hart showed up and took Jamie Hayter out. And I'm glad that Julia Hart is finally back. On Dynamite, Jamie Hayter called Julia Hart a coward for attacking her from behind and laid out a challenge for Fight for the Fallen. So I'm assuming that's going to be Julia Hart's first match back. I don't know why, like, if she has a match before. I don't know. AEW, they just did that with Toni Storm. I could 100% picture them doing that with Julia Hart. Her next match should be at Fight for the Fallen. I really hope it's not like a random match on Collision or Rampage or Dynamite. You had Okada pick up the victory over Black Taurus to gain points in the Continental Classic. I, at this point, feel like I should just stop talking about Black Taurus matches. I like when he sat up like The Undertaker, which shocked Okada. But it's just the same thing over and over and over again. He dominates and then, boom, loses. I'll put a pin in that. You had Action Andretti and Lio Rush pick up the victory over Top Flight. This had some good action back and forth. I thought it was pretty even. It was also a bit chaotic at points. Lio Rush accidentally sent Dante into Layla Gray with a suicide dive. It stunned Top Flight, and it looked like Lio Rush and Action Andretti cared, and then they went right back to the action. They won the match to establish themselves as heels, I guess. I still really don't get the split, but hopefully it adds something to the tag division. You had Chris Statlander pick up the victory over Tootie Lynn. 3 women's matches on Collision is beyond surprising, but only one of them being a meaningful match is not. And I can't say it enough at how beyond most of these wrestlers should be in AEW in regards to facing enhancement talent. Once you have an established star, there's almost no reason why they should be facing enhancement talent. I don't see what this does for Chris Statlander. It gets her a win, an imaginary win. There's not even ranking systems anymore. Who is she looking strong for? Mercedes? Who is Tootie Lynn to Mercedes? What does a victory over her do to make her look like she can be the next champion and beat Mercedes Moné? Nothing. You have the Outrunners team with Daniel Garcia, Commander, and Orange Cassidy to pick up the victory of the Varsity Athletes and the Maximum Male Models. I have no idea why this took place at all. I truly don't understand why this match took place. You had Mark Briscoe pick up the victory over Kyle Fletcher to gain points in the Continental Classic. Don Callis spoke beforehand about Kyle Fletcher running the board and guaranteeing himself a match at World's End. So I am very happy that Mark Briscoe was able to get this victory, especially since it was an unexpected victory for me. Mark, at one point, he goes for the Froggy Bow. Kyle Fletcher temporarily put a stop to it. Mark Briscoe ended up punching him off the turnbuckle and going for the Froggy Bow again, only for Kyle Fletcher to get his knees up. And he went for his own Froggy Bow. Briscoe moved out of the way. Kyle Fletcher tried to cheat to win again. The referee finally catches him. With how many times Mark Briscoe had his finishers reversed, I did not think he was going to win this. And he hit the cutthroat driver. He hit the Froggy Bow. Then he hit one on the inside. And literally with seconds left in the match, he was able to hit the J Driller and pick up the victory. This was a really good match. As much as I hate the Continental Classic, sometimes it delivers a very good match. And this was a very entertaining match. After that, it cuts backstage. The Death Riders abducted FTR to end Collision. And then it turned out that FTR got away, or they weren't abducted, because they spoke on Dynamite saying that they're now not cleared until Fight for the Fallen. and they're not going to be coming alone, you have to assume that they're bringing Edge with them. And you'll see Rated FTR versus the Death Riders. Over on AEW Dynamite, you had Mercedes Moné pick up the victory over Anna Jay to retain the championship. Anna Jay did not do anything to earn this match. At all. She lost twice to Mariah May. Why does she deserve this? Because she has other wins? I don't think so. And this was a very different match than Mercedes' match at New Japan this past weekend against Hazuki. That was a very good match. It was slow to start, but towards the middle, towards the end, that was a fantastic match. A match I said you can build a whole division around. If you just do matches like that and put storyline to it, you're like completely set on your women's division. I'm not saying Anna Jay versus Mercedes Moné was bad, but it felt like nothing happened in the match. It felt like there was something missing from this. And obviously Mercedes was going to pick up that victory. You had MJF come out, cut a promo, let all the kids know that real. And then he spoke about a charity that he started for a small child who needs nourishment and showed a very photoshopped photo of Adam Cole, completely burying Adam Cole on television, which I don't agree with. But Adam Cole showed up on the screen, announced that the Kingdom will be with him at World's End. And then he's like, oh, I think I'm forgetting about something else. I thought he was going to say this is a cage match. MJF wants to run away, wants to get away from Adam Cole. How to get MJF to not run away? You put a cage around it. But then it turned out to be the video on the Titantron was the video. Adam Cole attacked MJF from behind, and MJF obviously escaped. I really hated that they buried... MJF is basically just saying what the IWC says now at this point. And I don't think that's a route you should go. Especially not for TV. You had the Patriarchy pick up the victory over Hook and Shibata. I don't think this match was needed. Why did Shibata randomly get involved with Hook again? He hasn't been on TV with Hook for maybe 5 months. You had the Patriarchy control a good amount of this match. Hook ends up taking Kip Sabian out. And he took out Christian. But then Kip Sabian got back up on the apron to distract Shibata. Shayna Wayne then distracts the referee. Christian rakes Shibata's eyes, hits him with the kill switch, and then dragged Nick Wayne's lifeless body on top of Shibata to get the victory. That's pretty much how I expected the match to go. You had Ricochet in the ring being interviewed, which was immediately interrupted by the Hurt Business. And Ricochet, he came off as a little kid trying to prove himself to the Hurt Business. And then MVP asked him if he still had the business card. And he took out the business card. He gave it to MVP. And MVP ripped it up. And Lashley pushed him to get out of the ring. It was so embarrassing. Like, the character of Ricochet, I get what he's like a heel, but people are still going to cheer him. Maybe they're setting him up to get booed against Will Ospreay again. I have no idea, but that was very embarrassing for the character of Ricochet. And then you had Shelton Benjamin pick up the victory over Black Taurus to gain points in that Continental Classic. Like I said, over and over and over again, Black Taurus has not won a single meaningful match since July. You could do whatever you want in a match, but why should I care about Black Taurus? Why should I think he's going to win a match? Why should I care about him winning a match when he hasn't done anything in months? After the match, you had Bobby Lashley attack Black Taurus a little bit. You had Shelton Benjamin join in. And they called out Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia said that he knows that he's outnumbered. You had Mark Briscoe come out to try to even things up. Still outnumbered. And then both of them got beat down by the Hurt Business. You had Darby Allin pick up the victory over Will Ospreay to gain points in the Continental Classic. The sound that the ring made when Darby Allin missed a coffin drop on the apron was insane. And he probably should have been out right then and there. But the match continued for a long time after that. It had no effect to Darby Allin. Will Ospreay at one point hit a Styles Clash off the apron. It's like Darby Allin doesn't feel any pain. And Darby Allin came close to winning a bunch of times. And in the end of this match, he hit 2 coffin drops back to back and picked up the victory. This, like I said with the other match, sometimes the Continental Classic gives us a very entertaining match. These two, it started off slow for me, but these two delivered a very solid match on Dynamite. This, I would have been more than fine being the main event. The main event of Dynamite, I was bored with. You had the Death Riders pick up the victory over Jay White, Orange Cassidy, and Hangman. Earlier in the night, that it was established that Jay White doesn't care about this match. He just wants to be champion. Hangman only wants Jon Moxley. And he ended up leaving because Jay White wouldn't tag him in or something. Jay White ends up taking everybody on. Orange Cassidy eventually gets tagged in, and Wheeler Yuta pushed Jon Moxley out of the way. Yuta ends up taking Orange Cassidy down. And then later on, Cassidy made the save for Jay White from Pac. Jon Moxley drops him. Hangman runs back out, and at the last second before he could hit a buckshot, Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch. And Hangman got pissed off at that. Wheeler Yuta ends up pushing Orange Cassidy into Hangman. He then hits the buckshot on Wheeler Yuta. Jay White hits the Blade Runner on Pac. And Moxley pinned Orange Cassidy while they were arguing. While Jay White and Hangman were arguing with each other. I don't know why this match happened. Why should the three of them who are facing Jon Moxley, why should the three of them care about teaming up against the Death Riders? If all they have one goal is to go get that championship. And then they brawled with the Death Riders after the match. They came out on top. Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir left. But why should they care about any of that? It just didn't make any sense to me. That's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brennan, got any shout-outs?
Hey, wow, this is Owen Wilson. You're listening to Brandon's shout-outs.
The first shout-out goes to No Good Deed. Have you seen anything about this?
Help me with it. Who's in it?
It is a new show on Netflix starring Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow.
No, I have not actually even heard of it.
Abby Jacobson, Dennis Leary, Luke Wilson, Linda Cardellini, and more are also in the show. It's a dark comedy that follows different families who are looking to buy a house owned by Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow. There are so many twists and turns. It reminds me of the show that aired on Hulu. It was called Death and Other Details, which unfortunately was canceled after that season 1. But they did leave this open to where they could potentially have a season 2. Nothing's announced, but it's just like the way that they connect like point A to point B and then back to like point Z or whatever, I thought was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely check that out if you have Netflix. Dream Productions gets the next shout out. I did not realize that it was going to be a mini series of 4 episodes when I started it. But it's based on Inside Out, where instead of the emotions like we see in the movies, it's a team running the main character's dreams. So you have the voice actors from Inside Out too reprising their roles. And then you have new characters. You have Paula Pell. You have Richard Ayoade, Maya Rudolph, Ali Mackey appears in it. And it reminds me kind of the series on ABC that they had, The Muppets, a bit of The Office. And I would definitely, I was surprised it was only 4 episodes. I would definitely watch more of this. I was very entertained. I know it's geared towards children, but I was very
It looked
entertained.
really good in the commercial that I saw. I mean, the Inside Out movies are entertaining.
Yeah.
I thought that this, and it takes place in between the first and second movie, I believe, right?
Yeah. So I would definitely say check it out. It's out on Disney Plus, like I said.
Great animation.
My last shout out going to Red 1, which just came out in theaters a month ago, but it's already streaming on Amazon Prime. It was apparently, I think, originally supposed to just be on Prime like last year, but then
It got really bad reviews.
The writer's strike happened. This, by the way, crushed streaming on Amazon Prime.
I thought that this got really bad reviews, though.
I don't know if it got really bad reviews, but I know the reviews were like trickling in, and it didn't do well at the box office. But I very much so enjoyed this movie. It's a Christmas fantasy action comedy starring The Rock, starring Chris Evans. J.K. Simmons plays Santa Claus, and he gets kidnapped, so they hire Chris Evans' character to help find Santa. And then you have Lucy Liu in it, Bonnie Hunt, Kiernan Shipka, Nick Kroll. And I, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics hated this. But the people who actually paid money to see this in theaters loved it. So I wanted to see this in theaters. I'm glad that it's on Amazon Prime where I could watch it. And I would highly recommend it. I thought it was very entertaining. It's not a movie where I'm going to go back like every year, like Home Alone, where I have to watch this. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was still very entertaining. So check that out. Those are my shout outs. Now it's time for That is right, our mark out moment of the week. It has to be right off the bat that package pile driver being used.
I agree with that, but also Chelsea Green as U.S. champion, I marked out for a lot. I think that's a great. I think both are great spots, fully for mark out moments this week.
Also, the promo that aired for New Year's Evil, I thought was fantastic. That it covered the entire history of the NXT Women's Championship and all the different eras of NXT, and nobody was excluded. In a different era of WWE, we would have seen people like Sasha Banks, Emma, Paige, Indy Hartwell even. We would have seen them all excluded. Mm-hmm. I was very, very happy to see this. It was one of the best video packages I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was really
in recent history, at least.
Really done well. I have to say, I did mark out for the new Superman trailer too.
It doesn't even look good to me.
I gotta say, I'm a big fan of James Gunn.
Why did they use the MCU? Why didn't they say James Gunn of the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker?
I was surprised at that move too. That they put over. I mean, I would have just included all of them. I would have said Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't
think they needed to mention the MCU at all. You're DC and famously known for sucking.
You know what? I agree with you.
But the Suicide Squad movie that he did and Peacemaker are fantastic. So I don't think you needed to piggyback off of all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I would have piggybacked on all.
I don't know. To me that's
I would have said Guardians. I would have said Peacemaker. I would have said Suicide Squad. 2 at least. He didn't do 1, did he? No.
No, the first one people said sucked.
Yeah, it did suck. He didn't the second one. But I'm almost positive he didn't do the first one.
I don't think he did. That was before his time.
Yeah, the second one was
he was still making good movies like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, the second one was his style. I, being a fan of Guardians, Suicide Squad 2, and Peacemaker, I am a big fan of his with this kind of universe. So I am open to anything, especially knowing with everybody's like, oh, the dog is super pet. Like, what is this? It totally lost me. It's like I get it because it's comic book related.
Wait, but what were they saying? I don't know. Isn't that like a character in the book?
Yeah, big character of the book.
Super dog or whatever.
Crypto. I think Crypto.
So what? I don't know. What were people complaining about?
People, I guess, didn't know that there was a dog.
Like
in
famously?
Superman at all.
I'm pretty sure he's like a famous character in that comic book.
Crypto is a big character in the comics. I'm looking forward to it, especially because I want to see DC succeed. The recent movies, they couldn't really rope me in. The new Batmans I liked. Some of the movies are very dark in color, though.
Yeah, that's movies in general for these recent years for some reason.
Yeah,
but like
I'm not a fan of that.
Joker was very, very dark.
Yeah,
not
like,
just
I
like
have to,
not like the content inside the movie was dark, but the movie itself was dark.
Yeah, like I legit have to turn on the brightness of it because I can't see.
By the way, Joker 2 is out on HBO Max, and I'm like, or Max, sorry, and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet. I'm like dreading watching it almost.
I didn't know that it was on there. I
was so happy to see Joker in theaters. I thought that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
As soon as they started playing trailers for Joker 2, I'm like, A, this doesn't look good, and then B, there's like other trailers that they weren't putting into the mainstream where it's a musical. And they weren't putting that out there because obviously they don't want comic book fans to be like, "Oh, I'm not going to see a musical." Well, then don't make a musical.
Yeah, they should get sued for misleading everybody because I definitely did not see it as a musical. But going back to Superman, totally, I did mark out for that, and I'm looking forward to that. I marked out for the stuff that they were doing at the in the lobby of the headquarters with everybody. I always like those things.
It just didn't grab me. If it's anything like the other two projects that he's been part of, as far as the DCU go, I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
I agree. I have a lot of high hopes with it, and I hope that it succeeds.
Something else, I posted another TikTok this week asking what wrestling match is used on the Carousel of Progress at Magic Kingdom, and this time within minutes somebody actually answered and had the actual wrestling match. It was Renee Ben Shamoul versus Gypsy Guy LaRoche from Paris in 1951, which I did not think I would ever get an answer to, and I'm glad that it's finally known. I saw a Reddit thread popped up last week that had the answer there. And I don't think I would have seen that had I not put this video out right now. But the funny part about that match being from 1951 means that scene is wrong because it's from the 1940s. And that's something Disney doesn't typically do. So now my favorite attraction is incorrect. And I don't know if like Disney historians or anybody, it's been like an unanswered question literally for me for I don't want to say decades. It wasn't 20 years. But like for a long time, I've wanted to know what wrestling match was in the Carousel of Progress. And the footage, it doesn't mention Carousel of Progress anywhere in the footage. It's been sitting on YouTube for a decade. And I never realized that. Now I obviously see, now that I see the clip, the clip that they use in the Carousel of Progress, it's edited. And I never realized that, and I'm pretty sure that sound, Disney probably did the sound themselves, because there's no audio to it.
Huh.
So that was like a bunch to take in. I'm very happy that I finally have that answer, and I hope people go check that out, because it's the stuff that they're doing in that match from 1951 is like pretty comparable to what you see today in wrestling. as far as like the moves and like the flashiness of it. Like at one point, the dude sends the guy flying so far into the crowd in 1951. That was a pretty crazy spot. So check that match out. I'm sure that's it for the Mark Out Moment of the Week, correct?
Correct.
Well, we hope that you enjoy all your holidays. We hope you get everything that you want, if you're asking for anything even. And that is episode 724. Thank you so much for listening. You could follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on Twitter and Instagram, Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT on both platforms, Facebook.com/MarkinOut, YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11, ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut if you'd like to support us that way. We would greatly appreciate it. You could check us out on TikTok at Markin Out, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, markinout.com. You can listen to episodes on YouTube. You can rate, review, subscribe, leave comments. We appreciate any interactions whatsoever. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have a fantastic week. And a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Evening.
Or morning.
Day?
Or afternoon.
Midday.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Whenever you listen to the show.